morning, beautiful people. Welcome back. Welcome to a brand new week. Welcome to the Market Color, brought to you by yours truly, the Value Field Trading Team. My name is CJ, and I have with me here Demola, Cynthia, Lekon, and Abby, who are going to be taking us through today's Market Color as we analyze for the day. We're going to be looking at major currency pairs, also in synthetic indices as well, and we're going to be showing you what we're expecting to happen for the week and what trades we're expecting to take for the week. So these are the things we're going to be covering in today's market color. So whether you're in London, Lagos, Laos, New York, or any part of the world, once again, you're welcome to the market color. So let's head straight into the analysis for the day. Starting off with gold against the dollar, we're looking at a possible breakout on gold. And it will be very interesting to see how today closes out on gold, because we're expecting a pull from here. We're expecting gold to take out this liquidity and close below, but we're seeing a strong rejection from that particular region. So it's sort of a concern, considering the fact that it broke out during the Asian session, and then afterwards we are seeing a pullback from there. We're expecting that gold will continue selling to the downside and possibly close below this level here. But if it doesn't do that and start giving us a pullback, then we know that price will possibly be heading back all the way up here. So we might be seeing the push back to this particular region. Okay, so if price doesn't close below this level today, we'll be seeing the push all the way to this particular region. So we are very, very observant today, and we have to be very, very careful as well. So we're seeing that rejection from this particular place. Price struggle to close below it. Now we're seeing rejection back to the up.
All right, good morning, everyone. While we are sorting out the technical issues from the other guys, I'll be going ahead with analysis on the indices markets this morning, so that um we are able to continue very swiftly. All right. So very shortly they'll be joining us. But while they're doing that, let's just look through what we have here in the market. Okay, so it's a new week already. Today's Monday, and from the last analysis we did on Friday, like a recap, this was where we were, right? We stated very clearly that price is testing off from this zone, this sell setup for box strategy, right? If you can see very clearly, let me expand this chart. You can see everything happening here was actually preempted, right? So we knew a buy was going to go into this level, a buy bullish setup was going to rally into this area of interest, and from there we would see either a continuation, a consolidation inside this zone, and then price breaks out to the upside before we continue the bullish movement. That was our first case scenario. The second case scenario was that price just taps into that zone and then begins to sell off, right? And interestingly, the second case scenario seems to have held, right? Because let me delete all of those markups now, or just this one here, right? So we see that price is selling off from this zone, just a test into it, and then selling to the downside. So what do we have now on the daily time frame? You can see what we have on the daily time frame. Even from the daily time frame, it looks like a typical box before now, right? But because of what was happening in terms of series of events, right, leading up to where we were, so we expected that price most likely will have been giving us even a breakout to the upside. However, looking at the daily time frame now, a sweep break, some form of inducement here. There is every incentive for price to even drop even further to the downside, just purely based on technical analysis, right? The only place that look like might think that price, it's this zone here, this particular order block has not been tested before, right? This particular order block has not been tested before. That's the only area that looks as though price can. Okay, let me make this a bit darker. Okay. All right, so this is the only area that looks as though price can, just come inside and come into and then see some form of rejection from the daily time frame perspective, right? And what will make even this to be more, to make it more true will be a break of the zone, a break of this, actually even this one down here, a break of these two zones, right? To make price to will give us that confirmation that we are going to see a sell, right? A sell, strong sell into the downside. Okay, I believe you can see my screen now. Okay, so that being said, I'll just be looking out for what price does this morning, right? It's a fresh week. This analysis will help us to, make better decision whether or not we want to enter the sell, right? Because even looking for 4-hour time frame now, looking from the 4-hour time frame, another box pattern has been created, although not as smooth as what we had initially, right? A sweep, a break to the downside, and another block here that price has not tested yet. So there's every intensive incentive for price to come into this zone again, and then we'll see a rally to a dump to the downside. Sorry, but what will give us that confirmation even further is this break, right? Look at what we have now. So this break coincides clearly with an order block here. So for any reason, if for any reason this other block holds, right? If it holds to be true, this other block here, then it can give us a rally to the upside. Remember, on the daily time frame, structure is quite bullish, right? On the daily time frame, as you can see, structure is quite bullish. However, we have like a sell box pattern. This sell box pattern is from February, right? So it's a long-term kind of sell box pattern. But intraday, looking at what intraday moves are, price has broken this structure. This broke this structure. So there's every incentive that price could as well come dig into this zone and then push the upside, right? We have something like this, right? Like this, and then 1:4-ish, right? 1:4. So 1:4.33. So there's every incentive for price to do this, right? In fact, for me, I'm going to take this trade immediately. I'm done with the setup, right? I'm going to take this trade and then set the pending order, wait for what price does. If for any reason we get violated here, then we are sure that we can start selling fully, right? You can start selling because this is the only thing, like a stop for price to actually reverse to the upside, right? For a like a block resistance, will I use it? Or will I say, right? So this is like resistance. All right. So if price for any reason violates this area of interest, then we should see just a retest and then a continuation to the downside, right? So that will help us even take advantage of the overall sell box pattern on the daily time frame. And we know this daily time frame sell box pattern will be where you have enough leeway, right? You can capture if you're swinging it, fine if you want to. And this is just resistance. The overall will be this guy here, right? So the overall will be here, right? But that's a very long distance from where price is, right? But what we have now, hopefully, we should see some level of retracement before we see that push. On the 4 hour, I'm really keen on seeing this level, seeing what happens in this level. You can go on the lower time frame probably to see more information, to get more information, more data, right? But I'm keen on seeing what happened in this level. If price is going to, because we have an inducement, multiple level of inducement, and then price has broken structure actually, right? And then this also seems to be like a box pattern. So another level might be waiting for price to get here, because if for any reason this is trying to buy to sell, meaning price actually rallies to this top and then taps into this other block and then begins to sell, that's also a valid setup for us, because that will now align with overall daily time frame bias of a sell, right? So price actually does what? Price gets from this zone, gets tap into this other block goes into this bearish other block for a sell, right? And then you see a drop continue, right? If that happens, that's fine and good also, right? So that would be like two opportunities in the day, right? And if for any reason price continues, probably something comes out that is positive news or a fundamental news that is very, very dovish, right? Then we would see price actually printing more higher highs and higher lows instead of a bearish structure we're seeing currently. So that's it for US 30 this morning. On NAS 100 and S&P 500, very quickly, we'll be looking at that on the daily time frame. There's still no clear-cut direction for which they would go, right? There's still no clear-cut direction. Do you say price is retracing a bit? Not necessarily, because look at the push we had, right? So, but actually it's retraced a bit, but from whence do we enter the markets? That's the main question. That's the main question with this. So for me, this week, I'm not in any way rushing to get into NAS trade or S&P 500 trade. I'll just be quite patient and then wait for a clear-cut sign, right? A clear-cut signal. That will help me, make more decision rather than trying to catch either the sell, because it can reverse from anywhere. Seeing that we are in a new area of interest, no price reference either to the left or to the right, so it makes sense just to be patient and just stay up the chart for that, while taking advantage of US 30, right? So that's pretty much what we have on NAS and also on S&P 500, and almost the same analysis, right? Price is kind of reacting off from this other block on the 1 hour time frame. Will it hold? Honestly, we don't know. All right, but then there's every incentive for price to actually hold, for this level to hold, this area of interest to, where is it now? This area of interest, mark this entire area to hold, right? We have an inducement, then price should at least take out this internal liquidity, and then that would even give more more R, that's risk to reward. This is looking 1:3-ish, if I'm not mistaken. 1:4.5 or 1:4, right? Still a good trade, borrow. Still a good trade. All right, so that's pretty much what we have this morning. I'll be waiting for price to dig into this level, hopefully on the 4-hour time frame. This is a 4-hour setup, right? So for any reason price dug into this, then we would take our profit at these levels, and that'll be all for us this morning. All right, very quickly, I believe the network is back. All right, we'll be going into analysis on USD, that's Euro USD, GBP USD, and dollar index related pair. Over to you, Cynthia. How is the market at your end this morning?
Good morning, Demola. That's such a wonderful analysis from your end. Well, what the market is doing from my own end, give me a moment while I try to pull up my chart and take us through the analysis on the XY Euro USD and GBP USD. Remember, analysis last week was for a buy on GBP on the XY and a sell on both GBP USD and Euro USD. And during the recap last week, we actually said that we wanted to continue buying the XY and selling off GBP USD and Euro USD into this week. So let's get to see what price has for us this morning on all of these currency pairs that I just mentioned from my own end. On the XY, if you've been following the analysis right from time, we usually like to start from the weekly time frame. And on the weekly time frame, we've been looking at this price point for price to trade all the way. So we're looking out for price to buy all the way into 107.490. There's even another block solidifying our analysis for the sell of that point. Right, seeing that we're looking out for a buy to sell on the weekly time frame, of course, we want to buy all the way to the left shoulder. And if you remember last week, price was actually sitting at this very level, which is the classic box pattern for a buy. Shoulder at 97.912, sharp sweep to the downside and a break to the upside. Price is sitting down. Price returned right back into this level and we've seen some push to the upside. We want to see price pushing all the way again into this left shoulder for a sell on the weekly time frame. So there's still more room to the upside on the XY for the buy to keep buying, right? If that makes sense. So coming down to the much lower time frames, looking out for entries on the 5 minutes time frame. Let's see if we can spot any, right? So classic box pattern for a buy, shoulder, sweep, break, price tapped into this level and we may see some push to the upside. So we want to buy into this week, a quick buy to the upside on the XY into this week. On GBP USD, let's see what price has for us on GU. The weekly time frame, of course, we want to sell all the way into 1.24683Y. We spotted the box pattern for his right here at 1.24683, sharp sweep to the downside, a break to the upside.
All right, so sorry for that break in technical setup, right? We'll soon be back. Okay.
I beg your pardon, my network went off, but I'm assuming that I can be heard. Right. So this is what we're talking about, price traded into this left shoulder and selling all the way. And of course, my first point of taking profit is for price to get into once for 30088. Once price clears this low, I will be warming up to take my first TP on GBP USD. is so after establishing this with frames and the 5 minutes time frame, I actually for the sell of give me a moment and the entries on I want to sell GU. So this is what I'm saying. Shoulder at 1 spot 33745. Sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside, and you already know why we're selling. Direction indicates that we should keep selling GBP USD. So this is where I want to sell from. Once price taps into 1 spot 33745, I am shorting GBP USD. Last on my list being Euro USD. The weekly time frame for Euro USD also, we want to sell all the way to this left shoulder right here at 1 spot 06676, shoulder sweep break, return into this level, and we want to long Euro USD. And of course, there's still more room for Euro USD to sell all the way to this left shoulder on the weekly time frame, again at 1 spot 06676. And on the daily time frame, we spotted this classic box pattern for a sell, right? Pretty straightforward. Shoulder at 1 spot 18112. Sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Price tapped exactly into this level, and we're seeing the push to the downside all the way to 1 spot 06676. If you're a swing trader and you're already in this trade, you can hold it for days, for weeks, and watch it deliver what you want to see it deliver, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, price has broken structure. We're seeing more push to the downside. Nothing is confusing about this. We want to sell Euro USD into this week. We want to sell Euro USD, except otherwise we see the break of structure, change of character, a retest for a buy opportunity. All we're interested in doing on Euro USD and GBP USD is to look out for sell opportunities. And I want to sell EU once price retraces into 1 spot 16484. With that being said, I've come to the end of my analysis. Kindly take note of the POIs we're calling so that once price gets there, you'll be right on time. You can even set your pending order so that price picks up your order and you make money from the market. Lakon, what are you seeing in synthetics market this very day, being Monday the 18th?
Thank you very much, Cynthia. It's been a very mixed market so far on the synthetic side, and in the course of the weekend too, everywhere has been a long journey so far, so good. So starting this morning with the 75. We are going to look at the daily time frame. Looking at the daily time frame of the 75, we see that this long consolidation has been breaking out. We see how that price already broke the structure to the downside after this long consolidation. And that is still telling us that the long-term sell we've been seeing so far for years now is still very much in play. If you look at it, we've been a very long sell right from even 2022. That's when we've been seeing this sell-off going on. And right now, you are going to observe with me that we have this daily order block where price is currently sitting, of which we saw some level of reaction on it yesterday, and we see how that price just reacted. But because of the momentum is still very much to the downside, we can see how price is still digging deep to the downside this morning. Now, moving forward, what we're looking out to see moving forward is to know where exactly and what we are going to do moving forward with that. All right. So if you look at it on the 1 hour time frame, let's look at the lower structure there on the 1 hour. So for the 1 hour time frame, there is still very much room. Looking at where we are, there's no any structure to confirm where we are heading to. The only thing we are seeing is just a structure for sale, which is to this side, this that we are seeing here. And as a matter of fact, this one that we are seeing here too, yes, it looks more like a sell structure because price reacted to this move here, and we are taking this as our sweep while we look at this as our shoulder. However, I'm still of the opinion that when price gets there, we should be very, very, careful how we trade at that particular moment, because the momentum price is going to use to pick up from that low may be very strong that it may not respect this particular level. However, just let us wait and see what becomes of price. So our advice, let's just go to our lower time frame to see if we see more opportunity to join the sell on the 15-minute time frame. And looking at 15-minute time frame, everywhere is still a bit mixed up. Like this is the last zone that we could have seen a sell-off, which was the midnight yesterday for the sell setup. Looking at this last structure here that we have, that was it. But right now, what we are seeing right now is not really giving any clear. So this is one of these days that the 75 would tell everybody to go on a break. So right now, let's quickly take a look at this 91S. Yes, we should look into this 91S to today being the first time. So if we look at this particular pair, we are going to discover that everywhere is still very much bearish to the downside. As a matter of fact, what is going on right now is price is about to react to this particular flip zone. You can see drop, base drop, and this is the support that was broken to the downside. So when price get back there, we want to see some level of sell-off to the downside again. Now if you look at it from the 4-hour perspective, you are going to agree with me that at that particular point, which is the support that was broken, which is expected to be a resistance, the only thing we have there is the order block. So I'm of the opinion, let's look and see the order block and the fair value gap that we have in it here, and we see how that price is stylishly tapping into it and reacting. So I'm of the opinion that everyone's eyes is still on this order block. Let's wait and see how that price reacts in this zone on the 4-hour order block. So when price gets there, we wait and look for our lower time frame confirmation, meaning we want to see our boss pattern formed on like 15 minutes or 5 minutes when price get to this 4-hour zone. When price get to this 4-hour zone, then we can easily follow through. So if you even narrow into the 15-minute time frame, you are going to agree with me that we have a typical boss pattern inside of that zone long ago. That was around early this month, May 4th, you can see. So this is a typical boss pattern. So I'm of the opinion that price is most likely coming when it taps into that 4-hour order block that we mark on 4-hour, and then it's going to come and take out this liquidity. Then we have our shoulder resting just at this particular point. Then we have our order block at this top. So the whole of this zone here is going to be a sell zone. You can see fair value gap, order block, shoulder, then liquidity that needs to be tapped out. So we should just be patient enough to see price get to that POI, and we take our shot from there. Okay, so that is that for this 91S. And lastly, to round up the synthetic market this morning is this 75-1S. Now for this 75-1S, if you look at it on the daily time frame, you're going to agree with me how that price took off from this low, and as a matter of fact, we were expecting price to tap into this POI before it took off that time, but price just took out this inducement and began to move. It did not enter our POI, and this was a very it was very painful to see price do all this move without any entry. Now, looking at the 4-hour time frame, what do we have sitting on the 4-hour time frame? But before we go to the 4-hour, look at the daily time frame too. For daily time frame, we have a recent market structure shift, of which I'm still of the opinion that this is more like a pullback. And then observing the last swing, if you do your draw your Fibonacci tool there, you're going to observe that we have price coming into the premium zone where we can take a sell opportunity to sell back down again. So that is what I'm waiting for on the 751S. And looking at that on the daily time frame, we have our shoulder here. This is a sweep, and we've seen the break. So where exactly is price coming to? I'm of the opinion we are going to see price trade all the way into this fair value gap being the first zone, and then this shoulder too. When price get to this shoulder, we are going to see that reaction. So is a two missed setup for us. Is a two missed setup for us, looking at where and what price is about to do here. So you can see this is the shoulder. Inside the shoulder we have the fair value gap, but there is still another FVG with this strong order block at the top here. So the whole of this place is going to be a sell zone when price enters into this level, with our stop loss just above here and our take profit at the low, meaning price taking out this low and tapping properly into this POI that we are expecting the buy to start from before this happens. So that is that on that. However, on the lower time frame, if you want to just start things out, there's a markup I just saw on the 15-minute time frame. You can see we have the shoulder level there, and then price coming, although he took out this pullback to be this inducement, but I'm of the opinion that until price gets back into this shoulder, don't let us shoot. But this is going to be a low probability trade for us to sell the 751S. It's going to be a low probability trade because the overall move is still very much at that top we marked on the daily time frame. So if this happens, then we can easily just take it and see what becomes of the trade. That's why it has a very small stop loss. So you can try it out when price get there with this other block seated here. You can try it out and see what becomes of the trade. So without much ado, we are going to be moving straight into the precious metal analysis and also what is going on in the yen this morning. So let's join CJ to know what is going on the Japanese yen and also on the precious metal. Remember to trade cautiously and use your proper risk management strategy. CJ, good morning. What's going on at your end? Sorry, you are muted, please.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the analysis for gold and for the yen pair. So quickly, let's just wrap that up. For gold, we're expecting price to give us a very deep retracement, considering the fact that it struggled to close right below here. So we might be expecting a retracement all the way to this level right here. This could be a possible point of retracement, or it could even move up further to this very strong support level right here. So we're expecting to see a run-off on gold, a bullish run all the way to this particular level at this time. But if it doesn't do that immediately, we're going to be seeing another round of sell coming out to take out these lows, because you can see that the lows, firstly, this one was taken out, then this. Now we'll be expecting another move to take out this low right here. This is like the next target for gold. So either it starts selling from here to the downside, or it gives us a deep retracement and then sells further downwards all the way to this particular region. So we're very observant on gold this morning. We're expecting a bullish run, but right now, seeing what price is doing, it keeps stalling, but we're expecting a sell-off after what? Seeing that price is taking out the high of Asia, we're expecting the sell-off to the downside afterwards. You can also observe that on the 50 minutes time frame, seeing that price is taking out this level, so we're expecting a sell-off to the downside. But after a while, we might see that play out later on in the remaining part of today. So for gold, I'm bearish with the sense of taking out the lows and then going back to take out previous liquidity points above. Now for the yen basket, very quickly, the yen basket, we were still bearish on the yen basket, and we're expecting that bearishness to continue, seeing that price action will be resuming slowly into the market without the interventions. We had the last intervention on Thursday. We've not had any since then, and we're expecting a smooth flow of the yen basket to the downside. So we're very bearish on that. And as a result of bearishness on the yen basket, we're expecting bullishness to resume on GBP, JPY, and Euro JPY. Now for GBP, JPY, we've already seen the first sign of the bullishness this morning, and we're expecting a retracement, seeing how price is taking out this high, a retracement to get some buy trades to the upside for today. One of the places we're expecting retracement is somewhere around here. We'll be looking to see how GPUs will react if at all any retracement happens around here, because if you run a fib of this whole move, you see that that level is coinciding with 50% price point, which is kind of the equilibrium. So we're expecting price to just retrace around here and then give us a buy back to the upside. So GBP, JPY, we're expecting a buy. So you can see that price is already started retracing on Euro JPY. So we'll be looking out for various points of interest that price could possibly retrace to now. As we did JPY, also the most immediate swing, and you see that Euro JPY is trading to the downside, and we're expecting it to get to some interesting place. For Euro JPY, my own point of interest is right here, this other block here. I want to see Euro JPY buy into this, sell into this level, and then buy back to the upside. So in that regard, I'll be taking a buy from Euro JPY from somewhere around here, and then the stock is going to be somewhere below here, and I'll be targeting way above on Euro JPY. I'll be looking out for this high. All these highs right here will be my possible targets, and then we'll be hoping to take advantage of them as we trade Euro JPY to the upside, barring any intervention from the Japanese government at the time. So these are the outlook. This is my outlook on the yen basket, yen pairs, and for gold. Quickly, we're going to be wrapping up the market color as we look at our analysis on the commodity currencies, AUD, NZD, and CAD. And for that, we're going to be having Abigail share her analysis with us and tell us possible trade she'll be looking to take, so we can join her and benefit from her analysis. Good morning, Abigail.
Hi, CJ. Good morning, and good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to the market color session, and thank you for staying to this point. So very quickly, we're going to see what these asset classes have in store for us, starting off with a look at AUD/USD on the 4-hour time frame. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that predominantly our price action indicator, everything is still pointing upward. However, zooming into the most recent price action, you'd see where we saw a change of character. If the buy was going to continue to happen on this asset class, would have seen consecutive highs being broken. Primarily this, however, price came to break below, giving us a change in the characteristic patterns of uptrends. So now that we've seen this, it's making me to think, okay, what's going to happen next? If sunshine has been printed on this asset class, so for sure, I know that there's going to be a temporal buy from where price currently is to the next point of interest, which should now be clearer on the 1-hour time frame. And you can see it's already been marked out. So very quickly, if you do not have these indicators installed on your charts, don't let that distract you. Please just kindly take note of the price points I'm going to be calling out so that you can now put that on your naked chart, or better still, enroll for our first bootcamp course so you can have access to these indicators. So the first point of interest I'm looking at on the 1-hour time frame is 0.72063. And the second point of interest is down below. Zoom out so I can get the specific price point. That is 0.70998. I'm basically saying, okay, my major move is still a buy, but because price has done this, I'm looking out for this particular point of interest, primarily 0.72068, to see what price will do here. I know that there's going to be temporal buys of AUD/USD from where it is into that zone. When price comes here, if it breaks above, the buy has resumed. If it fails to break above the zone and gives us a support or resistance, then we may see a conformational break of structure that will continue this change of character that we saw on the 4-hour time frame. On the 5-minute time frame, you'd see that we've also marked out certain level points that would act as support resistance levels. POI1 is right here at 0.71404. Point of interest 2 is 0.72140. Point of interest 3 is 0.72628. These are my three major levels that I'm watching out for. So price is already coming back to retest the zone. It already has even. I believe that AUD/USD should buy from here into the zone at the barest minimum, giving us a cumulative 60 pips thereabout. So watch out for this buy move. Look for your conformational patterns if you want to, but I believe that price is going to buy from where it is into the zone, all things being equal. And when it gets here, provided it breaks through the zone and breaks through the zone, AUD/USD buy continuation is in full force. But if it fails to, then watch out for confirmations that will give you sell opportunities. And then looking at NZD/USD on the H4 time frame, you'd see that price was able to break above this range that we saw last week, and then now it has returned into that level. So what am I now seeing on NZD/USD? I'll go to a time frame that will give me a clearer picture, but first pay attention to the fact that a sunshine has been printed on the H4 time frame, so I'm expecting a temporal buy because of that. So on H1 now, you would see that there's more clarity, the indicators are not intertwined or jumbled up together. So my point of interest one on NZD/USD is 0.59131. Point of interest 2 is right here at 0.58507. Price is currently at my second point of interest. If we do this and give us a continuation of this break of structures to the downside that we're seeing, but if price is able to break through this point, I'm looking out for more buy opportunities of NZD/USD into our 5-minute points of interest, which could be this indicator first. That's the price point would now be 0.58940, or the next level, which is 0.59054. So for AUD/USD and NZD/USD, my most preferred trade of the day is buy. For this session, primarily, I want to see a buy from this zone into the next zone. And then when you now get here, either you break above to give me signs that the buy is continuing, or you fail to give me confirmations for the opposite. Remember, today is Monday, so by tomorrow, we'll have even clearer pictures of what the predominant move would be for this week. Yeah, so pay attention to the Telegram community where we'll be dropping markups should we see more confirmations. But regardless of it not being so clear, when we're trading along with our trends, NZD/USD is not clear, but for AUD/USD, the move of the week is looking more like a buy, except price fails to take out this zone. So pay attention to these zones that I mentioned early on. And then moving into USD CAD as the final asset class I'm looking at under the commodity currency category, I'll be looking at the H4 time frame first as well. Now, for the H4 time frame, you see that price started to sell all the way here. However, we saw a change of character again here. Price broke through this zone. It's coming back to retest. Go to the H1 so we have a better, clearer picture. And on the H1, we have our point of interest marked out. First one is 1.37488. Second one is 1.37207. And the third one is 1.36623. So USD CAD, is it possible that you're going to keep digging deeper, come back and retest all the way in here before this change of characters and this break of structures we're seeing on H1 continues, giving us a new buy swing? Or are you going to give us confirmations that you're going to be selling, right? Let's watch out for these zones. Let's go to the M5 time frame now to see if we're going to have a better picture. On the M5 time frame, predominantly is also point to fully tap into this zone before it started to react downward. However, it has now traded into a previous resistance that is currently acting as the support level. So similar to what we did on the others, these 4 levels that we marked out are now our major POIs for this morning. Break below and I'll know that price is going to continue to sell when I see those confirmations. But if you fail to break above and give me confirmations for the opposite direction. So looking at H4 time frame once more, there is no resistance around this zone that could stop USD CAD by it's not closed. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out the next major resistance that I see, which is all the way up here. So you see that there's still a lot of gap for price to move into. Let me zoom in. There's still more space this year. This also could count as another resistance point. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this out as well. So price should do this, give us confirmation. We're going to continue to buy If it fails to, then we know that it's going to be targeting the next liquidity level, which is going to be the next support level. And on its way to this support, that USD card could come and take out. So we're going to be watching very clearly and see what this does. Okay, so as much as we're looking at this indicator-based strategy, you also want to pay attention to fundamentals because they play a huge role in how this market is going to move. So today is the 18th. There's no high impact news release coming out at all. Pay attention to the rest. When you see all of these news releases that carry the red folder, those are high impact news releases, and I'm also watching out for them, specifically as it has to do with the asset classes that I just spoke on. Tomorrow we have one on the pound. So if you trade the pound, you want to, keep your eye out for that. If you don't, you want to wait for Wednesday when we have CPI coming out on the Canadian dollar. And another one, FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday as well. On the USD, Thursday we have employment change and unemployment rates coming out. And on Friday is also a pretty slow day. So we'll see how all of these factors come together to tell a story. Also, we have our training coming up next week for the Forex Bootcamp. If you're primarily interested in learning how to trade Forex, you want to sign up for the Forex Bootcamp training happening on the 24th of May. If you're more interested in the synthetics market, the classes is going to be starting pretty much soon as well. So just send us a message on our WhatsApp 081 60 99 50 30 and let us get you started. With that being said, thank you so much for joining once again. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. That will be Friday, but also we'll be sharing our live markups in the Telegram community within the week. Okay, have an amazing week, everyone. Cheers to profitability in the market. Thank you for joining. God bless.